Hello everyone, and welcome back to our podcast brought to you by the Employment Services Unit at the Saskatoon Open Door Society. My name is Awam Kenneth, and I'm glad you're joining us today.
And my name is Paola. I'm happy to be your co-host as well. This podcast is all about sharing stories of newcomers and employer partners, stories of resilience, growth, and opportunity. Why not? Our goal is to shine a light on the incredible journeys that inspire us all, and also to build stronger connections between our clients, the employers, and the community in general.
Awesome. And today we're excited to be joined by Bobbi Janzen.
Yay.
I hope I pronounced that right.
You sure did.
Okay. And she is the Workforce Development Coordinator at SARC, who has been doing incredible work connecting job seekers to meaningful careers in the Saskatchewan disability service sector.
Yes. Bobbi plays a key role in building strategic partnerships across education, labor, and community organizations, helping address workforce needs while promoting an inclusive and also purpose-driven career pathways.
Awesome. Welcome to the podcast,
Welcome, Bobbi.
Thank you so much. It's so good to meet you both.
Yeah.
So good to meet you too. We are honored to have you here. We actually have heard great things about you, so actually we're very happy to have you.
Oh, we can say Happy New Year in person.
So Bobbi, to kick things off, I have to ask you this. Can you tell us a little bit about your role as a workforce development coordinator and what a typical day looks like for you?
Absolutely, that is such a big question. So my role as workforce development coordinator has many elements. Part of that is HR consultations for our regular and associate members as they need.
Yeah.
And the other piece is that workforce development. So creating connections and partnerships with community partners such as Saskatoon Open Door Society to share awareness of the sector. And we don't know what we don't know, so we can show the different career paths within as well and work towards strengthening the workforce of today and tomorrow.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks. And you talked a lot about connection, and you work with labor partners, labor organizations, community partners, and also educational institutions. How important really are these collaborations in addressing challenges that comes within the disability service sector?
It's huge. As I stated before, we don't know what we don't know, and I find when I go to different events and I educate on what the disability service sector is, so many people didn't know it existed. I didn't know before I started working in it. So opening another pathway, another option for people who their values and their beliefs align with those of the sector, it's very important to give people an option and to create that awareness piece for ultimately community inclusion.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this, Bobbi. As you know, many newcomers come to Canada onshore or maybe hesitant as to where to start their careers, where to begin. So from your experience, what would you say to those newcomers? And if you could share maybe some good entry points into the disability service sector, what would that be?
I think when people ask me, what is the biggest thing, what do I need to start in the sector? The thing I ask them is, do you like working with people? That has to be huge, right? So you have to enjoy working with people, and that opens that conversation. So if that is something that people feel connected to and enjoy doing, then we open that conversation to what it might look like for those entry points. But I tell people too to check out startwithhello.ca, and they can learn a little bit more about the sector, the different members, where they're located, and the type of work we do. So that's kind of where I lead people to, and then we take the conversation from there.
Would you recommend volunteer, to volunteer as well, to these immigrants? Does that work in
Volunteering is fantastic. So if there are member organizations that they all are separately operated and run, right? If they accept volunteers, that's an excellent way to kind of try things out, learn more, and it builds your resume too. Volunteer work is amazing.
I can give physical proof to that because I still volunteer, and it gives more visibility and kind of like a soft ground to show your skill set.
Yeah.
And once you start, you don't stop. I'm still volunteering.
And just also piggyback on that, it leads to the rise of questions like Canadian experience, right? So for newcomers who don't have Canadian experience, how can they position themselves to be strong candidates Yeah.
I always plug my ears. And I say that as a joke when people say Canadian experience, because experience is experience.
True.
Right? It's all valuable. We all draw from our past experiences, our past education, and looking at what the cross might be between what we have maybe in a different country to here is huge. But volunteering is a great way to learn a little bit about Canadian workforce culture.
Yeah.
So that is a very good way to build up a resume and to show just experience.
Yeah,
True.
it's a good way to put your foot at the door, right?
Put your foot in the door, absolutely.
Yes.
And if that's not an option for a particular member that you might be close in proximity to where you live, where else could you volunteer while you're learning more about that member organization? What could you do to be involved?
Yeah. And I've
Also send them LinkedIn. Like, I can do something for free for you.
Also, another reality is that like, the newcomers worry about like whether their experience or previous education will be recognized. So what's the situation also with the disability service sector? Do you think that maybe they shouldn't worry about it? Like, is volunteer enough? What advice would you give to them?
I know it's a big worry for a lot of people. In conversations that I've had, it's going to depend on the role and the requirements. So I tell people if they're looking for a particular role to check out what those requirements are. But for an entry-level role into the sector, that might not be a requirement. Our member organizations have amazing training that they offer their employees.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. So it's that desire to work with people, desire to be part of the community and create community inclusion for the people supported as well, which is so huge. But if you're looking at that credential evaluation, I know that can take time as well, but why not work in the sector? Right? Why not work in the sector? In the meantime, if there's an opening that fits, come on in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
And just to piggyback on that, apart from like soft skills, which are always great to have, are there any particular technical skills or skill sets that newcomers can upskill themselves in to align themselves to being like a stronger candidate?
Well, I'm going to go right back to that desire to work with people. That is huge. But I know that as Saskatoon Open Door, you guys have first aid sometimes and witness. These are all assets that are going to stand out on a resume as well.
Yeah.
Any volunteer experience is going to stand out as an asset. Any type of training that is an asset. Like education is huge. If you've taken a certification course, that's really going to help you. But take a look at what the sector, like I tell people to open up a job posting, see what it has, see what so we'll often do that at Career Fair together. We'll go to the website, open it up and say because each posting and each member might have different qualifications. So we take a look at that and we take a look at what they might already have. Some requirements are a driver's license. So I tell people to watch for that because it might be a hard requirement for the job, like a mandatory one. So to watch for that, and if they have one, that's an excellent, asset to have. And if not, let's take a look for some of the postings that perhaps don't have that. Or are you working towards getting it? That's huge too. I tell people to highlight their communication and teamwork skills. Any experience they have had or skills they have in working and communicating with people and teams.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's beautiful insight. Yeah. I hope everybody's taking notes.
Gonna be writing down.
Okay, so you have experience with recruitment, right?
Yes.
So I wonder, what common mistakes you have seen, like job seekers, maybe newcomers specifically. Let's focus on the newcomers.
Yeah.
What common mistakes you have seen them make, and what would you recommend them to avoid them?
I'm going to just say that everybody makes these mistakes.
Yeah.
Number one, not reading the full job posting.
Okay.
Oh, that's key.
Because often they say after 1 minute, we're kind of full, done, reading, we scan things. Read it because there might be some things that are mandatory that might screen you out, right?
Yeah.
So watch for those things, watch for location. Check out where that location is. I tell people to do their homework. If there's a posting and there's an organization listed, do your reading on those organizations.
Research, right?
Yeah, that gives you a leg up. It gives you a little bit of an upper hand because you understand a bit more about that organization and how you might fit.
Right.
The use of AI
Oh my
I'm going to
goodness.
discuss.
I think we have to invite you over for another episode just to talk about AI.
AI and job application.
It can be a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
But there are
Mhm.
some screening tools out there that can screen an application out for being just strictly AI driven.
Oh.
So if you're going to, AI can be a tool. It can be a tool for language, for a lot of things. But I tell people to go back in and personalize it. It can't just be an AI driven
Yeah.
applications, because it's possible you'll be screened out by another AI system.
Exactly.
Right? So make sure you're personalizing it. And as my former hat of being a recruiter,
Yeah.
right? People read your cover letters. They read them, they really do. So make sure that it's kind of addressed to that organization and that type of role.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, there's an insider's tip. it just shows that commitment and that connection to learning a little bit more about what that role is, as opposed to just an AI generated.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I've heard
Thanks for
someone
sharing
say, yeah, thanks you, so thanks so much. I mean, coming from you, it's very valuable. I heard someone say as well that never be like afraid of letting your personality shine. Also,
Oh,
not also
goodness,
not alone like during the conversation, like on the interview, but also on the cover letter as well, right? Like on the
Yeah.
applications. Because the AI is a good tool, as you said, but it's lacking always it's lacking soul, So you have to put your own soul into it if you're really interested in
Or
getting
just
those.
on bedazzle the actual document.
Send it my way if you do. I would love to see your final creation.
So I'm just gonna follow up in terms of like qualifications. People always wanna like have one leg up, in a way. So are there any specific certifications, training programs, or pathways that encourage newcomers or new immigrants into working into the disability sector?
Well, for the entry-level roles, it's going to depend on the member, and it's going to depend on what they need for that role, exactly what it's called, and if people read the posting, they'll see what is necessary. But I tell people too, like if you have taken your first aid, or you have taken your witness or your food safety, these are all great things, list them on your resume.
Yeah.
If you do have a driver's license, that might be a qualification that's needed specifically for the role. Right? So to read and see, what do you have? What can what can they take through Saskatoon Open Doors Society? Our members offer such great training, and there's paths for career advancement in the sector, which is really cool. So they can build from the ground up. They can utilize the skills that they have. I'm always open to a conversation.
Awesome, thank you.
Most of the times our clients are complaining about the amount of opportunities out there. So I wonder if for specifically the disability service sector, would you say that there are enough opportunities out there for the immigrants to apply to? Or is it kind of limited here in Saskatoon, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say it's limited. It depends on the time of year, the need of each member organization at the time, like the operational needs. I would automatically connect people to the job board on startwithlow.ca. There's a place for career opportunities. It changes weekly, but I know for a fact, because I checked this morning, that there is opportunities for Saskatoon, and if people do have a driver's license and are willing to drive just that short distance, there's some in the surrounding communities too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a good insight. Thank you for sharing, Bobbi. And so let me ask you this. Based on your experience and your perspective, what would you say are some of the biggest workforce challenges right now in the disability service sector?
People don't know that it's a career choice,
Oh, yeah.
right? When I go to schools or when I'm at career fairs, and I kind of touched on this earlier, that I mentioned that this is a sector. I didn't know myself. We don't know. So just learning that it's another, and that's a huge part of my job, is to share that this is a great sector. I'm a little biased. I think it's a great sector, but it's another career choice for those people who, your values align with it. It's a very values-driven, purposeful type of work. So just people not knowing that it's out there. So we're doing our best to spread the word that this is another career path path for people to take. So that's one of the big challenges, and the population is growing, so the need for services is growing, the need for job seekers, the amount of job seekers is growing, so our population and demographics are changing too.
All for the better.
Yeah.
I know we talked about AI a little bit, we touched on it, but just one more time for the people at the back. What are some trends or changes you see coming in the future that you're excited about?
With AI?
Within not AI particularly, but just generally, and within the disability service sector. Any new changes or trends that you see that's happening within the sector right now?
I think through the type of work that I'm doing, just seeing those connections grow from the time I started at SARC, so just about 3 years here, I've seen that grow. So that's a huge growing trend, is that people are starting to recognize. I have people come up and they say hello. They recognize the Start With Hello logo, and they're starting to connect it to the disability service sector and the work that is done. So I think that's something very exciting that's coming up. Continue to grow.
Sounds exciting. Well, thank you so much, Bobbi, for sharing. I actually have a final question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So if you could describe the impact of your work in just one word, what would that be? And why, of course?
Impact of my work. Oh my goodness. I got
Don't
all kinds
want,
of
right?
words. Connections comes back out again. Connecting people to purpose-driven work. I have this awesome role of being able to be that connector piece that bridges that gap.
Yeah.
And the people make connections within the community, so I think connections is a huge, and my connections with my workforce development partners.
Yay.
That is a very impactful and the most favorite part of my job.
Oh, that's beautiful. We can tell how passionate you are. We love it.
You help people live their dream life or
Yes.
make it come true at least.
Oh, I hope so.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experiences, your knowledge. I am sure that this conversation it's going to be very valuable for our listeners in general. Not only the job seekers, but also the employers as well. So thank you for your time, Bobbi. We actually appreciate it a lot.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. And to our listeners, thank you for spending this time with us. If you're a job seeker or an employer partner, you can reach out to us at the Saskatoon Open Door Society Employment Services Unit. You can send an email to esuregistrations@sods.sk.ca, or you can give us a phone call on 306-653-4464.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you also.
And until the next one.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.